All right, and we are back and live on the old soapbox. All right, gang. So I want to dive in here and just chat a little bit about why you matter. And I think this is an important topic nowadays because within the fitness industry, gang, I think we're starting to see. I think a lot of people are starting to talk a little more, and also I think you're listening a little more. Certainly, if you're a gym owner, trainer, because of the level of uncertainty, people are listening. Ears are perking up, and I think there's a blessing and a curse with this. And I think there's an important responsibility that we have as individuals, whether you are in a position of influence or whether you're in a position of being, influenced, and what I mean by this is that you matter. Your gym matters, your community matters, and you matter. And I recently, was reading an article, and it was just basically just said how, we have, if you rely on your facility, if you rely on, certain things like that, then you failed your people. And I think a few things are important to understand is that, fitness, specifically CrossFit, never forget your history. CrossFit was, by Coach Glassman, was created in a really simple concept of, he leveraged the methodology of variance, functionality, intensity. We get it. And he was just training his clients, leveraging this methodology, and then essentially, utilizing this unique methodology, he ended up having to get his own facility because he was getting kicked out of other gyms. Because of course, a lot of gyms, like any establishment, don't like challenging the norms or new things. Therefore, they reject, right? And he was, one of his members essentially helped him, start what is known as the original CrossFit HQ out in Santa Cruz, and then from there. One of his people was always traveling. A lot of his clients were traveling, so they, essentially said, "Hey, we got to start this website so we can follow along the workouts." And it's funny because nowadays we're, the digital age of fitness. It's like a long time ago. One of Glassman's clients was like, "Hey, please put your workouts online so when we're traveling we can follow along." Thus, CrossFit.com was created, a blog where you just put workouts. And then also with some coaching tips and advice, and fast forward to where we are now. I mean, it's a $100 million, if not $1 billion industry, right? Online programming, online coaching, and it was also created from the sense of group training. It's way more cost effective than one-on-one, and there are arguable benefits that from achieving intensity, community, and accountability amongst others, compared to one-on-one. So all of these things were created that way. But remember that it was also a relatively autonomous community where it's like, hey, like when I found CrossFit, I found it online. I found it, and I read CrossFit.com. It was a fully virtual product for me until I went to my level 1. And then, and the reason why I'm saying this is because CrossFit has always been against the norm, and I think that now that CrossFit is so big and popular and gyms are relatively successful, it's easy to think about, well, what are we doing wrong, and obviously you want to be optimizing. All right, and welcome back, gang. Just had a quick little interruption there, getting back into it, I think it's important that we understand that yes, fitness is an innate capability, and working out are things that we all do, but there's a reason why many people don't do it. And there's a reason why CrossFit gyms are successful. So when people say, like, if you rely on your gym or whatever it might be, to be successful, then you failed your clients or you failed your people, I think that's awful. And I think it's quite short-sighted. Should we be teaching our people how to move safely, effectively, and efficiently? Absolutely. So yes. And think about in if we go back to some basic CrossFit education stuff here, where we have mechanics, consistency, and intensity. That's a charter that we follow, in order to get the stimulus. And what I mean by that is we have to teach our athletes how to move well. the range of motion, the points of performance, so on and so forth. Then from there, they need to get consistent in those mechanics where basically if I say we're going to squat and I go through a lesson, they're able to hit that range of motion and appropriately. Then intensity. We're supposed to layer on intensity once we can move well consistently. And a coach's job is to, one, make sure we can teach those mechanics and then make sure we're consistent. But then it's a never-ending pursuit in order to get better, because then what we need to do is push our athletes to go faster or go heavier, because that's how we get adaptation, right? Remember, once you have the ability to walk, walking has zero benefit for your health or your fitness. It just, because you're used to that level of adaptation, you're doing nothing to stress the system, therefore adaptation won't happen. It's a very simple concept. So when people tell me walking is good for you, well, no, it's not. If you've adapted to that, it's just not. Of course, is it better than doing nothing? But then what you're saying is that if you've done nothing, then yes, you're guarding adaptation because you've never done that before. So we need to apply the same logic to in the gym. What moving faster, going for more weight, or moving more reps. So that's the coach's job. Therefore, you always need to have a coach there. So the virtualization of fitness is important, but there are different realms of this as well. And this is why the CrossFit is so effective. This is why we see also that our communities are so strong, is because I think people truly realize it. And this is why I think this is why you matter. Why your gym matters and why your community matters is because you are not going to lose people when your gym can reopen, when you can get back in your four walls. Yeah. And what I mean by that is people are going to realize how much they need you because they want that level of camaraderie. Now, some people might have realized that, well, like, I can do this on my own. I have the ability, I have the equipment now, I blah, 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 blah. I've been taught all this stuff. Awesome. So maybe the virtual workouts are good enough. And that's why this has been a really cool opportunity, because now for a member that you might have lost next year, you might now keep, but as a virtual client. But I would still say 75% of your people are going to come back because that's what's important to them. There is, again, a reason for that. Again, just think about like a Peloton. Why is Peloton so successful? Well, it's because it's a bike. Are you paying for the bike? No. You're paying for to be told what to do and to manage that threshold and to go faster or to have more resistance, blah, 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 to be motivated. There's a community. It's just virtual. It works really well in an element where you can do those things. That's why virtual fitness for CrossFit, I think, is going to be really hard. And I don't know if it's ever going to be truly achieved appropriately, right? Because on a bike, you can change two things. Your two variables are your RPMs, your speed, and of which you're moving your feet, as well as the resistance of the bike. And then from there, you can be told what to do. The metrics are right in front of you. It's trackable. It's super inspiring, right? It's like you can see your power output go up, boom, right in front of you. You can have a routine and you can have some guidance for it, and it's real. And within a range, you can see some pretty cool results. It's really hard to do that with fitness from the sense of CrossFit because of there's no way to track that, right? Because you are moving yourself or a barbell and tracking that. Certainly today is not where it needs to be. Maybe in 10 years, some really cool fancy stuff will allow that, but we're not there right now. And I really do think that this is something that as we kind of embark on this, I just want to impress upon you guys, like, you really do matter. Your community matters. That's why we can't stop doing what we're doing. That's also why, and the reason why I'm passionate about this is obviously because I have multiple gyms, but I also program for so many gyms. And I do think it's time for you to start realize that the product that you're delivering on the floor, it is the product, and group coaching is important. And a lot of people talk about one-on-ones or things like that. And of course, there's a lot of value to that, but community is really special. It's like, I don't want to be trained one-on-one. I want to be in a group. Some people might want to do one-on-ones, and if that's, and again, you can offer that product. But if that's the only product you deliver, and then the argument of like, well, is your product going to be better one-on-one? Well, that's kind of like saying, well, what if you had a personal coach come to your house, or your personal cycle coach instead of a Peloton instructor? Yeah, there can be more personalization and individualization, but I do think there is a level of impact that community has. I love being around people. I love being in a class, and quite frankly, it's one of those things where yes, one-on-one instruction is good, but there's also a level of, I also don't want to be bothered all of the time. I don't want to be coached every single second, and nor does anybody, right? And this is the balance that you bring. And again, as a coach, as a gym owner, as a business owner, understanding that what you do matters. You matter. Your members matter. And don't let the vocal minority out there, the vocal people out there talk about all this stuff. There's so many scare tactics, and it's just so funny. It's like, this is your time, or blah, blah, blah. It's like, just do what you're doing. Like, yeah, you're going to, this is a challenging time, but great. You're gonna be better. Of course you are. You're gonna go back. Your gym's gonna be cleaner. At the very least, you're gonna have a damn clean gym. And let me tell you, no one's ever suffered from that. And having a cleaner gym is not a bad thing. It's refocused you. Maybe you realize this is not the business you want to be in, because whatever. And that's not a bad thing either. You give an opportunity for other people to succeed, and you send your people off in a smooth transition. But I think it's naive to think that virtual fitness is going to fully replace in-person fitness. That's not going to happen. Is it an offering? Absolutely. Because if you follow that charter, if you've done what you should be doing, your people should be moving well enough for them to move on their own for the most part. And will it be as effective? Of course not, right? It's like, trust me, I work out alone at 5 a.m. a good amount. And let me tell you, it's a lot different than when I work out at the, in the right situation at the right time with the right people, with the right motivation. But realistically, for my life, that's just not going to happen every single day. So that's also a give and take. And I think that it's okay to understand that as well. It's okay to have that perspective. So, I do think it's just important that you realize that, and so with the hand plan, we program for so many affiliates, and our goal is simple. It's to give them tools to allow them to matter. And what we mean by that is to coach. And I very rarely say this, but too many programmers out there they program too much crap because that's what they think their members want. They don't teach their coaches how to coach. They just give them something. And what we program and what we deliver, we truly believe allows our people to understand the programming, allows our coaches to understand how to implement a proper class, and therefore to give proper adaptation and stimulus to their members. And I can confidently say that because I do it, and I've done it, and my coaches have, and my fellow owners of the hand plan have. And I say this unequivocally, you'd be hard pressed to find a better group of coaches than us because of our experience. And we have also seen we've seen a lot of the best coaches in the world do this, and we're around them, and it's all very similar. So remember that. It's like, I have a hard time saying it. I don't like saying it, but it's if you matter, then you will be the difference for your people, and they will always come back. If you are the difference maker, they'll come back for you. Let this time be that for you. If you matter, people will come back. Therefore, you need to elevate yourself through what you're doing. We don't just blow the whistle. We don't just pack the hour. We coach, we teach, we inspire, we manage that threshold. We tell people that that's too heavy or too light, or where to put their body in what positions. We coach, we educate, we inspire, we entertain. These are things that truly matter. And because of this, your gym matters. Because of this, your members matter. And because of this, what you have done to this point will keep you going through this. And I think that's really, really important. Let's not get lost in the weeds here. I don't want to take business advice from someone who doesn't own a gym. I don't want to take coaching advice from someone that doesn't know how to coach better than me. And what I mean by that is, of course I'll take advice from anyone, but be wary of the practitioner, of the guru, of the expert that's telling you how to do something. The best feedback I get about coaching is often from my members, and they're not coaches. And because they're not coming from a place of selfishness or learn from me, they're coming from a place of, hey, I think this can be beneficial. And it's so helpful. And I'm fortunate enough that I have members that do that. And in turn, because they matter and they know they matter. And I think that's really important. If your people know they matter, then they will help you deliver a better product because you matter, and therefore your gym matters. So it's a sort of this two-way street. It's not a hierarchy. It's your level, and it's going left to right, right to left all of the time. And that's something I wanted to get off my chest. I wanted to hit you guys with that because gyms are starting to open. We're hearing a lot of people talk a lot out there, and just remember this: what's going to change? You're going to deliver a product. Yeah, you're going to have a virtual product now. Awesome. No different than gosh, like what in any level, like we're learning, we're growing. This is the beauty of human nature, and let's not be afraid to change a little bit. Let's not be afraid to implement some really important stuff here. People are going to be nervous because of whatever they're listening to. They might not want to come to your gym for a while, but you need to service them, and people are going to be ready to rock and roll right away, and you got to take care of them too. So I just wanted to hit you with this quick little piece, and I get passionate about this stuff because I love this stuff, and quite frankly, I get heartbroken when I think when people get negative to raise their own cause, and certainly when they're in a position of influence. So listen to everybody, but don't take everyone's word for Hammurabi's code. It's not written in stone, but really, I get passionate about this stuff. I'm on a soapbox. I'm hopping off. You matter. Your gym matters. Your community matters. Your members matter. So don't let anyone tell you differently. Adapt, get better, progress, grow, and let's keep doing the damn thing. I mean, if there's one thing starkly clear is that a lot of people need help specifically now. We know that our job as the lifeguards, aka doctors, which are not our jobs, are being dragged down because our jobs as swim coaches need to be highlighted more. Let's do that. Let's make sure that we are teaching people. We're reversing chronic disease. We're taking people from obese to overweight to their proper weight and then to fit. Take them from sick to well to fit. And we can really make some change here. Let's do this stuff, guys. All right, guys. Fired up. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the other side. That's the soapbox.